Be creative, but follow the brief, reply to your emails, and hit the deadline. That's your job as an illustrator, right? Wrong. That's the bare minimum, the baseline, the driving test. It's enough to get paid, but not enough to get ahead. In the illustration industry today, the bare minimum just isn't going to cut it. A lot of illustrators do exactly what's asked, nothing more, nothing less, and then they wonder why they struggle to find repeat work. The truth is, doing just enough makes you forgettable. Clients don't hire illustrators because they need art. They hire illustrators because they have problems to solve. They need to sell more books or magazines. They need to look good in front of their colleagues, and they need their client to say, wow. This video is about going above and beyond for your clients. So if you're not interested in that, you can go watch something else. I'm a fan of Seth Godin. If you don't know who Seth is, Google Seth. After the son of Adam and Eve, you'll find Seth's blog. Imagine being at the top of Google for your own first name. That is real power. He talks about a lot of things on his blog, in his books, and on podcasts. Most of it is broadly related to the creative industries and freelancing. I'll link to a favourite interview in the description. One topic that comes up a lot is the idea of meeting spec, doing work that meets the specifications of the client. Technically, that's fine. That's what the client asked for. That's delivering what you said you were going to deliver when you said you would deliver it. Is doing what the client asked on time something to be proud of? Is fine going to wow the client and make them tell all their colleagues how great you are? Probably not. If you get a reputation for being fine, decent, okay, a safe pair of hands, well, that's not so bad, but you'll rarely be anyone's first choice. And honestly, you might not even get the opportunity to do an okay job for a client because there are other artists out there who go far beyond okay. And who would you hire? Let me sketch this out. You've got a lot of people in this section down here. They are unable to meet the requirements of a brief yet. Their work isn't good enough, their portfolio isn't refined, they haven't put in the reps and the hours of practice to be able to meet the spec. No shade on these people. Everyone spends some time in this area. You have to go through it to get to the next section. There's probably a lot of students in here, but also some people who aren't really committed. They've got other priorities. Maybe they'll break through and maybe they won't. In the middle, we've got all the illustrators who are getting by. They can do an okay job and deliver what a client needs. Their clients are happy and they don't have any complaints. But those clients are probably considering other artists for every project that they have. If you're watching this video, you're probably somewhere in this section. Most people are in this section. You can do a good job, you're a good illustrator, you can meet spec. Then we've got this area at the top, reserved for a relatively small group of illustrators who are considered the best. No doubt you follow some of these artists online. If any names spring to mind, stick them in the comments. I think we can all recognize who deserves to be in this area. There are probably some illustrators in the area who you don't know too. Illustrators who have mastered their craft and they've been doing it for a long time and they make a lot of money. They might not be famous to you, but they're trusted by their clients and they're as busy as they want to be. The artists in this area deliver work that wows their clients. They make their clients' brief better by asking the right questions, making suggestions based on their experience and skills. They over-deliver and they have lots of repeat clients and they charge more because, frankly, they're worth it. It's not easy to get here. You have to earn it and build a reputation that grants you access to this level. It takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes a certain kind of personality, I think. This doesn't just apply to illustrators. This kind of model applies to just about any kind of job I can think of. Most people are happy to live in this section, where they do a decent job and they make a decent living, and that is totally fine. Only a few are motivated and possibly obsessed enough to get to this area. I was out for a friend's birthday a few weeks ago. We used to work in a cocktail bar together. I enjoyed my time working in that bar, but in the grand scheme of things, it was a fairly low-level job. Minimum wage, more or less, long unsociable hours, hard work. You know, we were cleaning toilets and mopping floors, and it's not like we were in a fancy hotel in London or New York. It was just the best bar in our small town. My friend still works in hospitality and he hires young people for similar minimum wage jobs serving customers. And he introduced me to a phrase that he hears quite often: minimum wage, minimum effort. This is something he hears from his staff. They believe that because they are being paid minimum wage, that they shouldn't have to work hard or go the extra mile or do anything outside of their specific instructions or spec. This is such a foreign concept to me. I was shocked, honestly. Throughout my early jobs in restaurants and bars, I was surrounded by people who took pride in their work, humble as it may have been. In the restaurants, the waiters dressed smart and acted as if the place was much posher than it really was, because that made it better for the customers. I have another friend who worked in a tiny local coffee shop, but he learned about every aspect of coffee sourcing, roasting and serving, and he made that coffee shop as good as he could make it. Several friends I still have today worked behind that cocktail bar I mentioned and were able to make any cocktail a customer asked for to a high level. Not because they had to, but because they were interested and wanted to be able to offer that level of service. If you take pride in your work and go beyond the job description to learn the role to a high level, it doesn't matter how modest the job is, you can make it better for your customers and better for yourself. You can make what, to a casual observer, is an average job into something much more enjoyable for you, and you can get customers to come back again and again because they see your enthusiasm and your dedication. So if you're a new illustrator and you're being hired by low-paying clients with boring projects, you could simply do the bare minimum to fulfill the brief and then move on, and the client moves on satisfied, and then you go on to the next thing. Maybe you're waiting for a really good client to come along before you give it your best effort and really try to impress them and demonstrate your initiative and your creative thinking. Well, if you don't make the effort to impress the lower level clients, you might never graduate to working with higher level clients. You might never get that chance to give it everything you've got. Your professional reputation is built one client at a time, and at the start, all you've got probably is low level clients. If you go out of your way to wow those clients, their influence over other people may be limited, but they'll talk about you and they'll recommend you, and you'll be their first call when they need some creative work doing. Your reputation for being great at what you do grows, and you become a big fish in a small pond initially, but it doesn't end there. Those recommendations spread, and you can be introduced to bigger and better clients with strong personal referrals from one client to another. Impressing a client and making them say, wow, isn't something you can simply switch on when you feel it's worth the effort. It takes practice. I want you to go from one wow to the next throughout your whole career. That's how you end up in that top level of elite illustrators, not simply doing the job to a decent standard most of the time with the occasional wow when you feel like it. Anyone in the middle section can do that. Don't wait for the right client or a big enough budget or for permission to be excellent at what you do. Strive for excellence in everything you do. Be so good they can't ignore you, because it will make your job more enjoyable and you can be really proud of that. Don't wait for a client to ask you to wow them. Do it anyway. Going the extra mile is never a mistake if it's something that could be useful to your client. Offer your creative ideas. Make suggestions to solve the problem in a way that the client might not have thought of. Offer alternative versions of the illustration for the client to choose from. Add value wherever you can. Be organized. Follow up with your clients after the job is done to make sure that the work was well received, and see if you can do anything else for them. Deliver early. Deliver more than you are asked to deliver. Make your client's life easier. Yeah, it's harder to do it that way, but it is a long-term investment in your career. These clients will remember you and talk about you and appreciate you. Anyone in this middle section can do the job and fulfill the brief, but they are interchangeable parts. The people at the top are respected, sought after, and rewarded, and the only way they get there is by earning their place there. If you like this video, check out this one, which is about thinking bigger in your creative ambitions. See you next time.